A stranger shows up at DJ Farm with a special grapefruit sauce that could change everything. But what does he really want from James and Diep? Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're jumping into a peaceful, feel-good day at DJ Farm as James, Diep and the whole team laugh, work and buy grapefruit, ginger and taro together after passing the last challenge. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. The morning on the hill felt lighter than it had in days. Mist clung to the trees, but nobody walked into the DJ Farm warehouse with that tight, worried look anymore. They'd survived the assessment last episode, and the pressure finally eased. The warehouse door rolled up, sunlight slicing across clean concrete. Empty crates were stacked, the scale ready. On the whiteboard, 3 items were written in bold: grapefruit, ginger, taro. James tapped the board and smiled. Yesterday was the test. Today we do what we do best, work together. Diep stepped out from the little office with a tray of warm cups, ginger tea with honey. She handed one to each person. Drink while it's hot, she said, and no skipping breakfast. People nodded. The simple care in her voice changed the whole room. Then Nee burst in, wearing a cap too big for her head and holding homemade stickers. Each one said DJ Family with a little heart. She marched straight to the scale and announced, "Everyone gets one. If you work good, you get 2. Someone teased, "What if I work okay?" Nee narrowed her eyes like a tiny manager. "Then 1, but I watch you." The room laughed and James leaned down. "So you're the boss today?" Nye pointed at a clipboard. "I check, I stamp, I boss." James raised his hands. "Yes, boss." They didn't do anything grand to celebrate. Just a quick group photo in front of the crates, shoulders touching, smiles real this time. Diep tried to hang back, shy as always, and James reached behind him without looking and caught her hand. A quiet pull. "You're here with us." "First pickup should be here soon," James said, turning toward the scale. "Let's keep it smooth." Right on cue, a cart rumbled up the road. A familiar voice called out, "DJ, I brought the big ones today." Uncle Two arrived, grinning, his cart piled with grapefruit. Everyone jumped in to unload. Crates thumped onto the floor and the warehouse filled with that clean citrus smell. Diep slipped into her rhythm. She picked up a grapefruit, turned it slowly, tapped it lightly, then brought it close to her nose. "If it sounds hollow, it's dried out," she told the newer staff, "and it should smell fresh, like the tree, not storage." Someone tapped too hard. James chuckled. "Easy. We're buying grapefruit, not auditioning for a band." Diep laughed and demonstrated again. Softer, patient. Nee watched from on top of a crate like it was a magic trick. "Auntie knows everything," she declared. James rolled the scale forward. "All right, Uncle Two, let's weigh." Uncle Two lowered his voice. "You still paying the fair price? I heard some places are dropping." James didn't hesitate. "We promised what we promised. If your fruit is good, you get the price. DJ keeps its word." Uncle Two's face softened. "That's why people trust you." They weighed crate after crate, logged the numbers, labelled batches, and for once, it didn't feel like a fight. People moved smoothly, helped each other without being asked, joked while they worked. At one point, a grapefruit so huge it tilted the crate made the scale jump. Someone yelled, "That one's cheating!" James held it up like evidence. 2-second game. Guess the weight. Closest wins first snack. Numbers flew around. Nye shouted, "10!" James stared at her. "Boss, if this weighs 10 kilos, I'm retiring." It didn't, of course. Everyone laughed anyway, and the warehouse kept humming. Between loads, Diep helped a newer worker with paperwork. His hand shook a little as he wrote. "I'm scared I'll mess up," he admitted. James walked over, voice steady. "Messing up is learning. Hiding it is the problem. If you make a mistake, you tell us, we fix it. That's DJ." Diep pointed at the sheet. "Batch code first, then weight, then supplier, and double-check the decimal." The kid nodded, relief in his shoulders. By late morning, the grapefruit stack was high and neatly labelled. Someone wrote "done" beside grapefruit on the board with a dramatic underline. James clapped once. Good work. They took a short break right there in the warehouse, sipping tea, sharing a bag of bread and salted peanuts someone brought from home. Nothing fancy, but the vibe was warm, a staff member joked. After ginger, we're going to be smelling spicy all day. And another one replied, better than smelling stress. Diep finally sat for a minute, and Nee immediately climbed into her lap like it was the most natural thing in the world. Diep smoothed Nee's hair, eyes soft, then looked up and met James's gaze. He didn't say anything, but the way he looked back was quiet and proud, like he was grateful this normal day existed. Reset for the next pickup, James said, but his tone stayed gentle. We still have ginger and taro waiting. Diep wiped down the table. Nee was pressing DJ family stickers onto everyone's shirts, some straight, some crooked, all proudly placed. And then the warehouse phone rang. The room quieted automatically. A staff member picked up. DJ Farm, hello. The voice crackled through the speaker, urgent but trying to sound casual. You guys still buying ginger today? Yes, the staff member said. We are. A pause. Then lower. We just dug up a batch. It's good. But someone came by offering higher. They said DJ is slow. They said you won't come in time. James stepped closer, expression sharpening. Not angry, just focused. Diep stood beside him, calm but alert. James spoke clearly so the caller could hear. Tell them DJ isn't slow. DJ is steady. We'll be there. The caller hesitated. They're waiting. James glanced at Diep. She didn't say a word, but her eyes said yes. Behind them, the team was already moving, grabbing gloves, checking fuel, loading empty sacks. James nodded once. We're coming now. Don't sell yet. He hung up and turned to the room. All right, ginger run. A few people whooped like it was an adventure. Nye hopped down from her crate. I go too, James pointed at her, half strict, half laughing. Boss, you're coming, but you listen. No running into mud, Nee saluted. Yes. Diep picked up her notebook. James reached for her hand again, quick and protective. Let's go, he said. And just like that, DJ Farm rolled out, smiling, moving, and ready to prove that after the test, they weren't just surviving anymore, they were building something real. The truck rattled down the hill road, and today that sound felt almost like music. No one was whispering about the assessment anymore. It was just DJ Farm doing normal work, together, laughing, moving in sync. James drove steady. Diep sat beside him with her notebook open, pen ready. In the back, 2 staff members checked gloves, empty sacks, and the portable scale. Up front, Nee sat like a tiny supervisor, clutching a bag of ginger candy like it was official gear. Quick reminder, James said, eyes on the road. We move fast, but we don't rush. We check quality, we weigh clearly, and we pay on time. That's our name. Someone in back joked, and the boss stamps. Nee nodded hard. I stamp. Diep smiled. And we stay polite, even if someone tries to pressure us. Polite and firm, James agreed. They turned into the ginger area, and the air hit them. Wet soil, leaves, and that sharp ginger smell. Under a tarp in a small yard, fresh ginger clumps lay spread out, still muddy. A few farmers stood watching. Off to the side, leaning on a motorbike, was a stranger in clean clothes with an easy smile. The kind of smile that says he came here to win. James parked and stepped out, calm and confident. Uncles, aunties, we came as soon as we got the call. An older farmer looked surprised. You really came that fast, James nodded. If you call DJ Farm comes. Diep stepped forward. Let us check first. If it's good, we buy today. The stranger spoke up, smooth. I offered higher. Farmers deserve more. James didn't argue the feeling. They do deserve more, he said. That's why we don't play games with the scale, and we don't delay payment. The stranger's smile tightened. You saying I play games? I'm saying they know what happens with us, James replied, simple and direct. Diep crouched and picked up a ginger clump, snapped a tiny piece, rubbed it between her fingers. Strong, clean scent. This batch is good, she said. firm and fragrant, but we sort properly. Soft pieces don't mix with the best. The team moved quickly. Premium pile, standard pile, damaged pile. One staff member rinsed a few clumps just enough to see the skin. Diep pointed to a small patch with rot. "We separate this," she told the farmers. "Premium gets full price. Damaged gets a different rate. We explain it so nobody feels cheated." The older farmer watched closely. "Other buyers mix everything, then pay low for all." James nodded. "That's how trust dies. We won't do that." The stranger tried again. "My price is still higher." James turned to him, still calm. "Do you pay today? Do you bring sacks? Do you help transport? Do you come back next harvest with the same promise?" The stranger hesitated. That silence answered for him. Diep spoke softly, but it landed. "A higher price once doesn't help if the next time you disappear." The farmers exchanged looks, weighing more than money. Then the tension broke in the funniest way. One staff member tried carrying 2 sacks at once, slipped in the mud, and a splash of dirt landed right on his cheek. Nee burst out laughing. "Warrior face!" The staff member laughed too, wiping his cheek. The farmers chuckled. Even Diep had to cover her mouth. "Go wash," Diep told him, half caring, half amused, "before you scare customers." Nee slapped a DJ family sticker on his shirt. "Sticker for Warrior," James grinned. "She's marketing again." They set the scale on a flat board and levelled it. Sacks were weighed one by one, with the farmers watching each number. Diep recorded everything clearly: names, weights, batch labels, no confusion. When the last sack was done, James said, "We pay today, like always." The older farmer nodded once. "Then we sell to DJ Farm." The stranger's expression hardened. He muttered something and rode off without a goodbye. As the engine faded, the yard felt calm again. A younger farmer said, almost embarrassed, "People said DJ Farm would be slow." James smiled. "We're not slow, we're steady." Diep added, "Next time we can show you better storage so the ginger stays firm longer. That helps you earn more over the season." The older farmer nodded. "That would help." Before leaving, Nee pressed another DJ family sticker onto his shirt like a contract. He laughed. Okay, I'm family." They loaded the ginger, tied everything down and headed back. The truck smelled spicy and fresh, and the team's mood stayed high, tired but satisfied. Back at the warehouse, the crew moved like a practice chain. Unload, stack, sort, label. Diep checked random samples and wrote storage notes. James walked to the whiteboard and marked a bold check next to ginger. 2 down, he said. 1 left. Taro. Taro was different work. No sharp scent, just heavy, earthy lifting. They drove to a lower field where piles waited. Purple-tinged skins, thick roots, solid weight. A farmer greeted them. "You buying today?" James nodded. "If it's good." Diep knelt, checked firmness and turned one slowly. "This one has a soft spot," she said. "It might be watery inside. We separate it." The farmer sighed. "Other buyers don't care." James answered, "We care because customers care. One bad batch and people stop trusting DJ Farm." They formed a chain again. Knock off dirt, check firmness, weigh, stack. The work was heavy, but the vibe stayed light. Someone lifted a huge sack and groaned. "Why is this taro built like a gym weight?" Nye pointed like a boss. "Gentle. Baby taro." James laughed. "Baby taro?" Nye nodded, dead serious. "Must be gentle." Diep smiled. "Yes, boss." By late afternoon, they were back at the warehouse, dusty and proud. James added the final check mark. Grapefruit, ginger, taro. Someone taped a sign under it. "Today we did it." James gathered everyone near the crates. "This is why DJ Farm exists," he said. "Not just to buy and sell, to build trust, to build a team, to build a future." Diep looked around, voice quiet. "Thank you for being kind today. You made it feel like home." The cheers were soft and warm. They started closing up. Lights flickered on as the sun dropped behind the hills. The rolling door was almost down when a shadow appeared outside. A man stood there in clean clothes, confident posture, eyes scanning the warehouse like he was measuring it. Not someone from their village, not someone they knew. "Is this DJ Farm?" he asked. James stepped forward just enough to guard the doorway. "Yes. Who are you?" The man smiled faintly. "I heard you're buying a lot lately. I might have a special grapefruit sauce, the kind that could change your whole season." Diep's fingers tightened around her notebook. Instinct. James held the man's gaze. "Special how?" "Not everyone gets access," the man said. The team behind James fell quiet. James didn't move aside. He only said, calm but firm, "Then be honest first. What do you really want from DJ Farm?"
Bà Linda và Linda theo bà và cậu cháu ra nương mía. Dưới nắng sớm, bà vừa chặt mía vừa kể chuyện ngày xưa. Dậy chặt 3 hoặc 4 khúc cho đẹp để bán được giá. Đồng mía cao dần, 45 đồng trở thành hy vọng cho phiên chợ. Một cây mía đổ bất ngờ khiến cả nhóm kêu, rồi cười xòa vì kịp đỡ nhau. Chiều xuống, Linda buồn bã vì con rúi của mình đã biến mất. Nghi có kẻ trộm rình quanh nhà. CEO quang ghế đến lắng nghe và trấn an và tự sửa chiếc camera cũ trong kho, kéo dây lắp trước sân nhà để bảo vệ cô. Đêm đến, Linda nấu cơm nếp cẩm mời anh ở lại ăn. Hai người trò chuyện lòng ấm lại. Quang kể áp lực công ty, camera nháy sáng, bóng lạ thoáng qua, và không biết Linda có sống sót qua được đêm nay không. Mọi người nếu thấy video hay, hãy cho mình một like, một subscribe. Cảm ơn mọi người nhé.